live. Okay. And I think, yeah, we are all set. So, welcome everybody again to this lovely podcast covering another subreddit because that's all we do these days.
Well, we can do Halo next week, I think. There will be 3 episodes out.
I want the third episode just dropped today.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when we will be able to do that.
Yep. And then
Because just by principle, we shouldn't cover anything till we see 3 episodes of it.
and let's see. I think to all of our new Twitch viewers, as we're streaming to both Twitch and
Yeah, to all of our new
YouTube.
Twitch viewers, why don't you go into the description, click onto my channel, and watch our Dungeons and Dragons session 0.
Easy. Okay.
Easy.
Peace.
It was kind of a good, and skip right to 1 minute and 14 seconds, because that's where the good thing happens.
God damn it.
What do you mean, goddamn it?
Okay. Would you like to start off with the female dating strategy and what the subreddit is about?
Yeah, so female dating strategy is a subreddit meant for female dating advice. You can probably tell that by the name. It is one of the greatest subreddits in existence, in my personal opinion. Just because they give such bizarre advice on what red flags mean, and it's just so amazing. They're sort of like female incels, these people.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think right here on hot. The guide to being approved. Getting a flare.
That's a message from moderator.
Yeah.
So go down. What do you think?
You have a responsibility in being HV.
HV is female dating strategy for high value.
Is that not correct?
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's kind of like, an actual thing. How about
Move
this
down.
trigger warning one? Be alert, men on TikTok are fantasizing about ways to hurt women on imaginary dates. Oh boy.
It's a TikTok video. It's not a text.
I don't care. We're opening it.
Go. Okay.
Oh, this is something about going on a date with a woman and pushing her off a cliff. Okay.
Yeah. And they're taking this seriously. Hey, scroll down the comments. Yet men want to complain about the horrors of being catfished. Yeah, that's fair.
Yet this really can't compare to the horrors of someone buying someone a meal.
Go down, go back to hot. Go down to the one that says discussion, losing friends ever since accepting female dating strategy values.
Okay.
I'll read it because
Okay.
this is fun. This sort of thing is fun. I've noticed that I've been losing some girlfriends and I feel horrible about it. PS, which stands for post something. I'm not. By the way, you can't PS before the end of a letter.
Postscript. It's post.
Postscript. Yeah, you can't post scripts in the middle of the script. I'm not blaming female dating strategy for this. Pretty much, I recently had one of my closest friends come to me and vent about a weekend out. She went out one night with a guy she met via dating apps, and she let him keep ordering her drinks without asking. Got drunk. She slept with him. The next night, she went out to a party, and one of the guys aggressively flirted with her. So, by the way, that second thing is not the same as that first thing.
Oh. Okay. Two completely unrelated things.
Two completely unrelated incidents.
Yep.
And I don't even know why she threw that second one in there. Because if her point is that female dating strategy protects women, then
obviously
she went out and some guy was aggressively flirting with her is not the same as some guy purposely got her super drunk.
Yeah, fair.
God.
Although people are legally at least are held like responsible for their actions, drunk or sober. Like state of mind doesn't matter.
And you know what? I think if you do something bad, when you're drunk, it should be worse. You shouldn't have gotten drunk.
No, because being drunk
Like if
isn't
you kill
illegal.
someone while you're drunk. Doesn't
No,
matter.
because being drunk isn't illegal or not, so the punishment should be the same because being drunk or not isn't relevant to the crime that was committed at hand. So,
I would argue that in other court cases, like if you purposely put yourself in a situation where something bad can happen, like it's very common for self-defense cases to be thrown out if you purposely put yourself in that situation.
mhm.
And getting drunk is a drug, so you purposely used a drug that makes people aggressive, and you did something like you assaulted someone, and I think you should be held to a higher standard of the law for that.
Okay.
That's just my
Yeah,
my legal.
it's just a take. I can understand it.
That's my hot take,
Yeah, I understand it.
which is why alcohol is probably worse than marijuana.
I disagree with it, but I can understand it.
What do you mean? What I just said?
Yeah.
You don't you think that weed's worse than?
Oh no, no, no. That punishment shouldn't vary depending on intoxication or not.
I have a lot of those hot takes actually. I got into like an argument one time because I said that if someone's crazy, that should make them like eligible for more time in jail instead of less time in jail. Because if a dog bites someone, we put them down, but if a person bites someone, they go to jail for a couple months. So, like in my opinion, if you're crazy and you don't understand what you're doing is evil, then that is more of a like cause to be like, okay, this person's barely a person.
Okay.
Like,
Okay
like,
then.
doesn't that mean the recidivism is going to be higher if you don't know what you did was wrong?
No, because
I feel like it does.
I think that people can be taught in other ways about social norms, like what is considered right and wrong.
Yeah, but you're thinking of it. Okay, so there's this famous case where a woman murdered her children, all three of her children before they all turned 12.
Mm-hmm.
Before the oldest turned 12, I think she murdered all three of them because she was like, well, I murdered them before they could like absorb original sin. That way, I'd know they'd all go to heaven.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter because she still murdered 3 people.
Nope, she did get the insanity plea. So what? So the insanity plea is what the actual legal case for it is you don't know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah, but like when you do go
So
for
that
an
woman
insanity
gets the
plea,
insanity plea.
you then have to also get screened for insanity, and there's like rigorous trials behind whether or not you can be eligible to be considered like clinically insane. And she probably met them. And life after being diagnosed as clinically insane is not any better, if not worse, than being in prison.
I mean, but my point is, if you are clinically insane, then you shouldn't like. And if you were gonna get the death penalty if you weren't insane, you should also get it if you are insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, oh, officer, I killed them because I didn't know killing them was wrong. Well, it's like, yeah, you're still like a danger to everyone.
Yeah.
In fact, you're more so. If you killed 3 people and then you were like regretting it, like you're like less of a danger.
Anyway, we should probably get back on topic.
Anyway, I've known her for years, and she has always had experience like this where men don't respect her and use her. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
She was
she
in a
came
very
for-
usable position, to be fair. Like, I'm not saying like that
I'm
you
clipping
should
that out
hold
too.
on.
Gabe's.
Hold on. I'm not saying that like a person is like, oh, men are at bars are awful because they stalk women who are drunk. What I'm saying is, like, if you go out and get drunk and you are publicly intoxicated like that, somebody who is looking to take advantage of a situation is going to take advantage of that situation. You've almost presented, like, say, that minority of people an opportunity. Because, like, if I'm at a bar and I'm relatively sober and I see a girl who's drunk out of her mind, I'm going to ignore her.
Thank God you said ignore her, because I thought you were going in the other direction. Like,
No, it's like
I thought you were about to say I'm an opportunist, man.
No, I'm just going to ignore her because it's like it's like just stop, go home, get sober. I don't want to do any. I don't want. I want nothing to do with you when you're intoxicated out of your mind, because obviously you're not in that right state of mind.
Okay, but what you're explaining should be like preemptive, like you shouldn't get drunk, not retroactive, like, oh, this is why you shouldn't have done what you did.
I'm just saying that she's presenting an opportunity. You know, like the it's almost like if an animal like or like when a deer gets caught into a trap and it starts
Yeah,
crying
well,
out.
I agree that if you should stop getting drunk at bars if you want to stop meeting sleazy guys,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean it's her fault that there are sleazy guys in the world.
Yeah, it's not her fault, but she's just in an opportunity to come across such people.
But she happens to be in a place where she happens to be meeting a ton of like these sleaze bags.
Yeah.
Okay, now she asked me for okay. She came to me for advice, and this is getting so as to why she's getting treated like this and why men think they can act like this. And I told her, with love and trying to be gentle, that she needs to set more boundaries. Okay, fair enough. I doubt that you said it exactly in those words.
I kind of
If your
doubt it
friend,
too, but like, same time,
if your
it's like
friend, like my friend isn't talking to her because I told her that she needs to set boundaries.
if you have a
It's like
friend who needs to break this news to you, then something's wrong.
yeah. Now she's asked me for space. Oh, hey, look at that. She's setting boundaries.
Well, yeah. I
I
wanted.
feel horrible. All I wanted is to protect her because I noticed this pattern in her life. As an as an aspiring high value woman, I I can I can do a better. What can I do to be a better friend? Should I have said nothing? Should I have defended her? Ooh.
She did the right thing. I mean, just straight up,
I,
she was honest with her. Your friend came for you to help. You were honest with her. I mean, maybe your friend isn't the kind of person that you want to be around. Just throwing that out there.
maybe your friends suck. I don't know.
Yeah, like, just because they are your friend doesn't mean that they're all high and mighty and that they are, like, I don't want to say that they will always be worth defending.
You ever go to someone's I click through to her history and it's all one subreddit. It's all female dating strategy.
Who?
The original poster.
Okay.
I was just saying. I think it's bizarre that
Okay.
I just
yeah, I wouldn't know.
okay. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, just because she wanted space doesn't mean you weren't a good friend. Yada 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 blah 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 blah.
Losing friends ever since accepting female dating strategy values.
What we just read.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is one that we just did.
Go below that.
Okay.
Sex strategy. Finally figured out why low value men think all women sleep around.
Let's read this one. Female dating strategy translates men. I figured why low value men think all women sleep around. Probably because I'm just gonna go out there. Pornography addiction.
No, I have another theory. So there was a study that came out. Basically, men under the age of 30, like half of them are still virgins. Which, I mean, obviously, because a lot of them are teenagers. Men under the age of like 18 to 30, men are virgins older nowadays. And a lot of the thing is, basically like 10% of guys just like sleep around with a ton of women, and then the rest of the guys like can't get laid at all. But it's much more of a flat bell curve for women, so they're looking at it and they're saying it's so much easier for women.
What I'm thinking is more like a younger pornography addiction leads to an incorrect view of women, and so like you start when that becomes your primary insight to how women act, it can really kind of change it.
Yeah, I agree. But there's also perspective. Like, if you're like, oh, I've only ever slept with 3 men, and like to me, I'm like, whoa, you're sleeping around a lot, aren't you?
No.
Well, to
Okay.
me the
So
virgin,
all of men's issues with women,
Calvin the
sexuality,
practicing
come
non-Christian.
from them projecting their view of sex onto us. Check it out. What do men think women who date a lot are doing? Having lots of sex. Um, Low value men accuse every woman who doesn't look like Quasimodo? Quasimodo?
Quasimodo,
I don't know, Quasimodo,
the
and
Hunchback of
lives
Notre Dame.
and who lives outside the nunnery of riding that CC. But here's a really important bit. What kind of sex do they think you were having with this rotation of men? The most vulgar, pornified, filthy sex imaginable? Now,
Hey,
as
she's saying what you're
women,
saying.
we know this mostly couldn't be further from the truth. But low value men think that because they're projecting, that is what they are doing. That's why they are on Tinder, at bars, looking for ONS and NSA hookups to use and discard after they've fulfilled their every fetish,
One
and
night stand
they just
and
presume,
NSA. What is NSA? ONS is one night stand.
yeah,
NSA is
I don't know. They just,
looking for
yeah,
non-sexually exclusive hookups. Okay, yeah.
and they just presume that's what women do too. That's why they are forever wondering about a woman's past, obsessing about if she did more or freakier stuff with another man. The irony is, 9 times out of 10, it's all in their heads. This is why scrotes have dead bedrooms after they've been married a while, or their wives have children. The Madonna whore complex is a killer. They see their wives as people now, mothers no less, the whore. Um, so just thoughts on that. I mean, it's like,
I partially
I
agree with her
guess
analysis.
I can see where they're coming from. It's just probably seeing the wrong guys.
Well, first of all, her thing was like you're insecure about your. Okay, so here's the thing. What I've noticed is that the female dating strategy, female incels versus like the regular the femcels versus the actual male incels. The main difference seems to be that incels are like, I could probably get a girlfriend, but just nobody wants to sleep with me. While the female dating strategy incels are like, well, I know I could easily go to a bar and find someone to hook up with, but I can't get a boyfriend. So what she
Okay.
so it there's like she's projecting that that men are projecting.
Well,
There's a lot
yeah.
of projecting going on,
I don't think
and I think that's fair.
she's not projecting. Like she's she's drawing a conclusion from a variety of experiences,
I
which
think
isn't
her conclusion's like
projecting.
half correct.
But it's like I don't want to say because it's like how do I put this? How you present yourself is going to attract the attention of a specific kind of man to make an approach on you. And so it's like I almost don't want to I don't want to say like oh you're drawing in like bad types of guys, but it's like you're drawing in bad types of guys.
She's describing like internet incels though.
Yeah, like
These aren't like men that she's dated. What she's describing is like
yeah. I mean, maybe she slept around with a couple, or not slept around, but sounds like she had an experience with an incel guy who had some Madonna horror complex, and
what is the Madonna whore complex?
basically is this idea that she's just sleeping around whenever she gets a chance. And,
What? What is the?
let's look it up. I don't entirely know.
I'll look it up so you don't look it up on stream.
I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Oh, It's the inability to maintain sexual arousal with a committed, loving relationship.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Which is like, yeah.
so
Would you describe that as a complex, or I would describe it as like a defect?
yeah, it would be more of a defect. Kind of like you're
You're
struggling
defective
with
as a human being.
you're like, or as in sex is not exciting enough for the person is what she's trying to get at. Which is whatever. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't care.
yeah. So
Read the next paragraph.
for me and many women, it's the exact opposite. You need to trust to be able to fully let go and have real intimacy in bed. People try to gaslight women into thinking they are frigid or broken for not feeling 100% comfortable with a stranger doing the most private things imaginable to your body after one date. This person doesn't know you, hasn't committed to you, you don't know them, but you're too demanding. If you're hesitant to leap into bed, what creates good sex circumstances for low value men is anonymity and distance. They have to be
Yeah, that.
able to dehumanize their partner before they can use her, which creates the ideal sex lovemaking circumstance for high value women and high value men in closeness, trust, intimacy, and commitment. I was thinking today, when I have the safety and security of marriage, that will be some hot sex. Can't wait. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's fine. What I this is so this is like the main theme of female dating strategy is all men are incels.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the women are like late 20s, early 30s on the sub, and that's the problem with like late 20s, early 30s is that if you're a woman in your late 20s, early 30s, you should know that all the good men were taken 5 years ago. Like in your like age dating bracket,
That is so not true.
it absolutely is.
No, I would say look at how a man treats you. Like,
No.
maybe, like, Tom, that friendly neighbor down the road who's been nice, says hello every morning,
Yeah, the
doesn't.
nice guy, you leave that guy alone.
Hold on. No, I'm not getting him. But,
Guy's a chump.
yeah, maybe he's a chump, maybe not. But it's like, if, sometimes all the right guys are in not the places you're looking.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Nice Guy. That is some real nice guy complex, what you just said, though. He's like, you're just not looking for the nice guys.
I mean, half the time girls aren't.
Well, they're looking for traits that just nice is one trait.
It is.
Okay, so other traits are financially stable, ambitious, strong,
Yes.
confident. And if you're saying that you have none of those, but you are nice, doesn't matter.
I was just
And by the way, the
she's
most
looking
important
for
trait
a
that I would
guy who would commit to her. And that's what I was trying to get at. I was trying to say maybe that guy who is willing to commit isn't going to be a guy that you meet at the bar. That's what
listen
I was getting at.
no, you're absolutely right. It's not, but it's like, where do you meet that guy? You think you just meet him down the street? I mean,
Maybe.
maybe,
Maybe.
maybe not.
That's why I said
And
maybe.
by the way, maybe all the guys that are so those are all things that people look for, but the things that, in my opinion, as an observer of the human condition, which is what I am, I'm a philosopher. I would say that it's really about someone's values, like which is like you can be strong, you can be like a confident, nice, handsome guy, but if you really don't value intimate relationships, then you're never gonna have a relationship. You're just probably gonna sleep around and like whatever, like And same thing if you're a woman like that. But if you're a guy who is all that thing and he values like marriage and having children, then that guy who is like at the top of everything and he wants like a more traditional lifestyle, that's what he values. That guy gets married when he's like 25, maybe earlier.
Hmm.
So you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of agreed. I've agreed with you the whole time on that.
So like a certain. So you think about like the field of potential partners, and it's much easier if you're a woman, if you're younger, just because your looks play. Like, here's what I've always said. I think this is the ultimate. This is like the peak of male privilege, is that if you're a man, you can be funny. Like, that can be your thing. If you're not a looker, at least you can be funny. Women don't really have that. Peak of male privilege right there.
I disagree with that.
No, that's a fact.
What, that women aren't funny?
I didn't say that women aren't funny. I said it didn't matter if they were.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say. Well, that what I thought you were trying to say that women only have looks going for them, and I'm like, that is not true.
No, women can be funny, but it's not the same. It's not like if you're a guy, you can make up for your mediocre looks with like a quick wit. I just don't think women can do that.
I think that most women can make up for their looks if they've just watched Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you have low standards, man. And I mean, good for you because you're pretty ugly, so you need low standards.
I'll think about my standards when that time comes.
Yeah, when you're, you're a traditional guy. I mean, you're an ugly guy, but you're a good Christian guy. You're a non-practicing Christian. I'm a practicing non-Christian.
No, I'm not gonna start dating till I'm financially stable.
I think that's a mistake. I think you probably should have been married with children by now.
No, because then I'd be in debt.
I'm 17 and I have no children. If this were like back in my great-great-grandfather's time, like I'd be like the laughing stock of the town. Like, this is a 17-year-old guy. He has no sons. Get out of here. He's gonna die alone.
Yeah, and you probably will.
Yeah, it's highly likely. Okay, go down the comments. Scroats really tell on themselves when they try to tell you what they think women are doing sexually. Yeah, because they don't know. You got a point there.
Yeah.
Female dating strategy newbie. Let's get out of here. Lessons learned. Okay, good. This is like some of my good stuff.
So I mean,
go back to the hot page.
How about this yeet any men with weird food hang-ups?
Yeah, I love lessons learned. I've been living alone for the past 2 years. For the first time in my adult life, the one thing I have found delightful is being able to cook whatever I want without having to pander to my frankly random hang-ups of many low-value men have. Dietary weirdness is a red flag. Okay, so the lessons learned here is that you just need to have a very you have to have non-functioning taste buds. Basically, you have to be okay with whatever.
I don't know if that's what they're getting at.
We've all got those weird things about, but you get one, maybe two, if he's lovely and you're feeling generous. But these should not be fairly normal things. But these should be fairly normal things. Like, I don't like pineapple on pizza, or I don't eat Brussels sprouts. No, not. The carrots and peas are not allowed to touch on my plate because they're different colors and different shapes. That is a totally reasonable thing, okay?
No, that's not.
Yes, it is. Unless they're steamed together, they shouldn't be touching, all right?
No.
They should be separate.
No,
yes.
That's not.
Yes.
No.
That's how food works.
No.
Yeah, yes.
Food is a culmination of ingredients. And carrots and whatever the fuck else are ingredients.
Once whatever you serve is on the plate, everything should say separate.
No.
Yes.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay, whatever. You're telling me you want your ketchup... You're the kind of person that puts your ketchup on the fries rather than next to the fries?
I'll put a little bit of ketchup on the fries, and then I'll also put a little bit next to the fries, so I can dip each bite.
Oh my god. God.
Yes, I'll do both.
No, no. Listen, I went
Yes.
out to dinner tonight. Yeah, I went out to dinner tonight. All right, and I had corn. All
Yeah.
right, my corn. I didn't. I ate like everything on my plate, but there were like 2 fries that touched my corn. I didn't eat them. You wanna know why?
That's retarded.
Because they should only combine once in my mouth. All right, they should not
No.
touch. Yeah. So
No.
I don't want any of these soggy corn fries. You know what I mean?
No. It doesn't matter. It really
Yes, it
doesn't.
does. All right, whatever.
You're
I
like
once
a
dated a guy who.
child. You're like a little child who's like, I need my little plate separated for me.
Yeah, I need my plate separated.
God damn it. You're like proving this girl right.
No, I'm proving her wrong because
No,
I am clearly the greatest of the male specimens on this planet. So
absolutely not. Have you
I once
seen
dated.
yourself?
In fact, I would say it's a red flag if you're dating someone and they just like let their food touch.
What the fuck are you talking about?
That is so weird. You just let your food touch?
Yes! I really
No.
couldn't give a shit.
Oh my god. It's
Now,
horrible.
hold on. If you have something, say, like, very soupy, or
Applesauce.
yeah, or it's like applesauce, and the applesauce is sitting there soaking into your mashed potatoes, and I might take my fork and push them aside a little bit. That's because I'm.
Oh well,
But
I
it's
like to dip fries. If I'm being totally honest, I like to dip fries in applesauce. That is good.
but it's like because of that, like. But say if my mashed potatoes are up against my green beans, it really doesn't matter.
I would not take a scoop of mashed potatoes if like there were green beans in it.
Not green beans in it, touching it.
Yeah, it like but mashed potato like is like sticky, so that when the green beans touch it, it sticks.
So
It's disgusting.
no.
Okay, I actually have an idea. I was talking to my dad about this. Okay, here's an ice cream place. Do you dip fries in soft serve? You like that?
It's whatever.
Oh, like that's like something like everyone. That's a really good thing. And we had this idea because I was telling him a story about this guy who was eating all this ice cream, like for like a food challenge, but he couldn't finish because it was like too much. But then he told the waitress to bring him a bunch of fries, and like the saltiness of the fries gave like his mouth a break from the sweetness of the ice cream. So like he would eat a few fries and keep going with the ice cream. And even though he was full 5 minutes ago, eating the fries let him like continue eating the ice cream. It was crazy. So I had this idea for an ice cream place that was a bowl with like a small layer of fries on it with your ice cream on top of the fries.
God, please
God, that sounds so good.
no. I guess.
Oh my god. Dude, that's amazing. Mm. Anyway,
I
I once
already
dated a
cooked
guy who
your.
did not like onions in any form. I don't like onions. I put them in stew though.
I won't eat onions by themselves, but I like them in other things.
I put them in stew. That's the only thing I eat.
But I
Maybe
don't
in
know
like
anyone.
ground beef,
I don't know
a
anyone
little.
who will eat an onion by itself.
Oh, I mean like no. Okay, he made me pick all of them onions out of a shepherd pie after the sauce was already cooked. Oh, like tomato sauce, onions are allowed to be in tomato sauce. That's fine. This is not normal at all. No, not if he made you pick the onions out. Also, why didn't you just strain them out?
If I'm with a partner, like I would be there cooking with them, and I'd be monitoring like the food to make sure nothing I was allergic to got into it, or
Are you
something like
allergic to a
that.
lot of things?
I am.
You're one of those. Uh, I have noticed that many low-value men do not eat a healthy and variety diet. Yes, if like obviously if you're an unhealthy person, you eat a
Shit.
poor diet. Like
Yes.
and either eat total junk, fair. If you're eating total junk, you probably I eat total junk a lot actually. Don't we all?
No.
Like we all eat too much junk.
I
You're
commit.
telling
I eat too much junk, but I do eat a good variety of fruits and vegetables as well.
the only time I get enough vegetables is when I make a stew,
Like
because that's the only time I can tolerate eating like
I could
servings of
I could
servings of carrots
definitely
and
cut
celery.
down on the amount of carbs I eat, but it's not like to an amount where I'm unhealthy.
I kind of want. I've been really wanting like an apple pie recently. I want something cinnamon and apple flavored. I don't know what it is. Maybe not apple pie. Maybe it's like oatmeal with cinnamon apples in it. But for some reason recently, I'm like, I want that apple and I want that cinnamon together.
Yeah,
I have no
apple
idea
and
what it is.
cinnamon is a good combination.
It's a great combo. Maybe I'll just put some cinnamon on some apples. See if that wears
Apple
it.
crisp is that. That's basically.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm gonna make some oatmeal and put some sliced apples in it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
Cinnamon apples.
just make some apple
Uh,
crisp.
yeah. I or obsessive and will eat the same meal every day out, day in
Chicken.
and day out. I mean, if they have a very restrictive diet, that actually might be a positive. Like if you're like a really healthy person and you basically eat the same thing every day, you basically eat broccoli and chicken every meal for dinner because you're like super into your body and that's all you can eat. My ex-husband, oh, you're divorced. My ex-husband would only ever eat some form of plain or marinated grilled meat with no sauce. Well, the marinade is the sauce. Chicken, steak, lamb, or pork. Yeah, you should not be putting sauce on steak, just so everyone's on the same page.
I
And you
disagree.
should probably.
Steak is naturally really tough. It's very chewy food, and the sauce actually
Steak?
helps it. Yes.
No, you're cooking steak wrong. You
No.
know how to. You know how the best way to tenderize steak
Oh.
with honey.
Okay, so there's your sauce.
It's not a. It's a it's
It's
sort of like a marinade.
acting. It's acting as sauce.
No. Oh, you're. I'm not saying you shouldn't marinate it. Although I don't think you should. You should really marinate it. You just shouldn't put like A1 sauce on it.
Okay.
I brine meat, and I'll put the honey on either before or after the brine. But you can't taste the honey. It's like a very thin layer of honey, and the enzymes in it break the meat down.
Yeah,
It's not like a sauce.
because what is it? Steak is a very chewy and tough meat on its own.
No, you if you cook it right, it's not. Like I smoke it. I smoke it, brine it, put a little honey on it. Even if you just smoke it, even if you did none of the other things and you smoked it for the right amount of time, it would melt in your mouth. Like really, I promise you.
Okay, I'll just take your word for it.
Okay. And some green vegetables. That's what he eats. Yeah, it's healthy, but boring as fuck. Well, first of all, what she just described was like the widest variety of meals I could possibly imagine.
Not really.
Some form of grilled meat, could be marinated, could be not marinated, and some vegetables. So meat and vegetables. That's steak, chicken, lamb, or pork, and then with a salad or maybe broccoli or maybe Brussels sprouts. I don't know what you're eating. That's like a basic dinner, all right?
Yeah,
And it's a pretty healthy dinner.
yeah, it's pretty healthy. Not
Boring
bad.
as fuck, and he would make me feel bad about enjoying spaghetti or potatoes. Well,
There's nothing wrong. Well, actually, yeah,
no,
that's messed up.
well, I don't think she's saying that he like made like brigaded her for eating potatoes. Like she's saying that him eating so healthy and boring every night would make her feel bad for enjoying fun foods. Which you should like. I would never do a diet where you can't eat spaghetti ever again, because I love spaghetti. Just you eat spaghetti very rarely, but when you do eat it, you eat a whole bunch of spaghetti. Even genuine dietary requirements, be they for religious, ethical, or health reasons, really need to be looked at with caution. You need to ask yourself, seriously, if you can live with this. It's not mean to say you can't. I mean, dating is all about discrimination, and you're 100% allowed to discriminate for whatever reason you damn well please. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of true.
I mean, it is true, but like, for some reasons, like, it's kind of messed up.
No, not really. It's just a harsh
Well,
truth of it.
if you came out and you were like, I don't date black girls.
Yeah.
God, I should not have said that.
Well, I think it works as a theory.
You think, but you don't think that's a little like it's kind of racist?
It's not racist. It's a preference.
It'd be a preference to say, but if you were like just put your foot down and you were like never.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Like everyone has the right to their own dating
I'm not saying
preferences
you don't have a
and
right
views.
to it. I'm just saying like
Well, if
you put your foot down
you have the
and you
right
say,
to it, then
I'll
what's wrong with
never...
exercising it and putting your foot down on it? What's wrong with that?
I think you should. I think there's a lot of things you should be able to that you shouldn't do.
Like I'm indifferent.
Like
but
if you came to me and you were like, I just ate a dead raccoon off the street, I would be like, you have the right to do that. It's disgusting and you should never do that again.
Exactly.
So that's...
But that doesn't mean that you're... That's because you're not eating the dead raccoon off the street. That's why that analogy works. Because...
Yeah.
But in dating, you're the one participating. You're the one doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't... Someone can have... If that's a deal breaker to her, so be it. That's a deal breaker. Like,
all right.
It's not anyone's concern.
I could not, for example, date someone who kept kosher or was vegan. I mean, I probably...
I couldn't either.
We would just eat different meals.
No,
Oh, by the way,
expensive.
Kept kosher.
Sticking to dietary restrictions is very expensive. In like that, you're buying the food, and it's expensive to be eating different meals, as opposed to where you're just buying your food in bulk together as a couple. It like, yes, that would be a deal breaker for me too.
Maybe vegan. Kosher's like really not that hard to keep though. Like kosher, you can't eat pork. I mean, you can't eat pork. You can't eat blood. Kosher is not I actually think probably veganism is more restrictive than keeping kosher.
It is.
Just out of like variety, because vegan you get rid of like an entire flavor. You get rid of everything savory and a lot of things that are sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. In kosher, you get rid of some things from every category. Anyway, I'm sorry, but I like bacon too much. It's a very restrictive diet, would spoil my enjoyment of my favorite dishes, and there are plenty of other women who would happily date someone with that diet. If you have to fundamentally change a massive part of your life, which I would argue food is, with its huge social effect, then he is not the one for you.
Agreed.
Well, I guess it depends. Like, if you're saying I couldn't date a vegan just because I like meat in my meal, that's one thing. But if you're saying if you're like, oh my, like that's a pet peeve. Like your husband doesn't want his food to touch when they're on his plate. Like, or there's like a guy who's like, I really don't want my food to touch when they're on my plate. You're like, you're not the one for me. It's like, that's not really, like, you're not trying hard enough at that point. Like, if you break up with someone because they have like a weird food quirk, that's not like a huge dietary restriction.
It is.
Then
it could be annoying to deal with. It's one of those things where every meal you go to sit down with, you're constantly going to be plagued with that issue coming forward. Like, as you just sit there and watch them have their food separated, every time it's not, you hear about it. That's going to be a constant reoccurrence in your life that you're going to have to worry about. And honestly,
no, it's not.
Someone shouldn't have to deal with that.
No, it's not. No. You know what you shouldn't have to deal with? Your spouse should not be mixing the potatoes and the peas on your plate, all right? That's just bizarre.
You should find someone else who is just like you and likes their food separated. That way you two can work together on that.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that that there is another person in the world who likes their food presented on their plate the same way I do. All right?
Then that's a problem.
I'm just that everyone's a little different, and my problem is you should be able to work around that. You shouldn't end like
Yes,
you're looking.
you can work around that, but it's not on the onus of the person to work around that. Like, it isn't the person's responsibility to work around your preferences.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. And I think it's if they're like demanding that they're like bendable at all, unwilling to compromise at all, and they're like, no, if you cook dinner, you have to cook this one thing. We eat this one thing every single night. Then sure, I think that's a legitimate reason to break up with someone. But I'm saying that this person's point in the paragraph, dietary weirdness is a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. There are things that like come around that can be deal breakers, that can show that a person's not high value enough for like you. But if your point is just that anybody who's picky, like at all, like I agree. If like as a picky person, I'm willing to say that yeah, it's my responsibility to like quell some of my pickiness for somebody. But like if you're like a very unpicky person, and you're the kind of person who just like eats pizza off the floor,
as they hope to see Earth,
then you probably shouldn't expect your partner to eat pizza off the floor.
Okay.
It's all about compromise. It's all about values and compromise.
Okay.
That's all I was saying.
I get that. So, moving on with that. Or did you finish up?
Yeah, I finished up.
Okay.
Shower thought: high value men prefer monogamous relationships.
Have you ever seen your threads on FT? No.
So go down to shower thought.
Where?
Go, God, like down to.
I know it's down to, but down to is UK news. Pretty
No,
Cradle
that's down
plans.
one. Down one. Down two. The next one.
Oh, HVM prefer monogamous. High value men prefer monogamous relationships. To be honest, most of the high value men are not even watching porn. They don't sexualize female bodies but respect it. They dislike the idea of using masculinity to overpower women. That being said, they really prefer to have a long-lasting monogamous relationship. What are your thoughts? I'm not sure if this applies to most high-value men, but in my case, ever since I stopped being Pikmisha, I observed that most HVP high-value people...
Pick-me-ish.
Pick-me-ish, yeah, whatever. High-value people truly value the connection they have with people, not just romantic partners.
Well, yeah. That's what I think about this is like so dumb. Like they think they've cracked the code. Like, oh my god, guys. High value men are respectful and are like really respectful.
I've just agreed with pretty much everything that like has been covered here.
Yeah. Like half their stuff is pointing out the obvious, half of it's the ridiculous.
My yoga video disaster.
My yoga video disaster?
Yeah. How... Oh, man. How do you perceive big dick energy? Do you want to read that one?
No, I don't. Vetting tip. Watching out for low-value men who try to get you to associate your positive moments, traits, accomplishments with negative connotations. What? Okay, click that, because I want to read the red flag. I like red flags. They're fun. You ready?
Yeah.
this is a really subtle thing they do. They will deliberately withhold compliments or refuse to share your joy or even put a negative spin on something positive you share as a way to condition you not to enjoy them. So the implication is that there are low value men who do this on purpose, which is kind of, I mean, maybe, I don't know. You may not notice it at first, but it can happen early on, and soon you realize it's a pattern of theirs. Say, for example, you share your potential dating partner that you have just submitted your dissertation. You're super excited to be done. And normal high value response is, congratulations, it's such an amazing accomplishment. You must be scoped. Okay? And a low value, unless he is very manipulated and putting on a facade, will say something subtle to try to deflate you and get you to associate your proud moment with negativity. For example, and I'm just making this up, so feel free to add your examples below. Oh, that's great. How long did it take? I bet the whole process was dark and dreadful. Am I right? Was dark and dreadful.
Am I right?
Am I right?
Am I right?
Or even, do you think people really read things like that? Well, by the way, if your dissertation is stupid, I'm just gonna say that.
It's just...
Notice the absence of congratulation. First of all, if you said I just submitted my dissertation, my response would be, what's a dissertation? What was it on?
Yeah.
It's weird that either these low value men are either manipulative geniuses or they're like bumbling morons who don't like their peas and carrots touching. Top comment. I will never forget I got an exciting job offer. And the first thing my no value man oh my god, he got a downgrade from low value to no value, said, I got my first exciting job. When I first got an exciting job offer, my ex said was, that's more money than I make. No congratulations, no holy shit amazing, no we have to celebrate. Just comparing my offer to how much he made because he was insecure about his salary and his net worth. That is a congratulation. That could be a discongratulation.
No, that's not.
Like, right?
No, that's not.
You don't think so?
No.
What do you mean? How was that not? That's more money than I make.
No.
What?
Congratulate
you're
the
reading...
person.
If your job is something ridiculous, though, if your job is like a sofa tester, it's like, I got a job to be a sofa tester. I make $250,000 a year.
That wasn't specified, though.
Yeah, exactly. No. So I'm not just gonna take this poster's side. Maybe their ex is like totally right. Maybe maybe. By the way, there is an ellipses right here, so I have no idea what he said. All I know is that he didn't say congratulations, he didn't say holy shit that was amazing, and he didn't say we have to celebrate. He might have said, oh, good for you, that's more money than I make.
I disagree with all of these basically so far.
You just agree? That's because you're not thinking about it from the right mindset. These are crazy people saying crazy things.
No, most of these aren't that crazy.
I don't know. You're not thinking about it with the right mindset then.
No, I am.
No, you're not.
You're
buying. I mean, you're allowed to agree. You can be a new female dating strategy if you want.
No, okay. I think that this is very generalistic stuff about people complaining about other people being shitty people.
Yeah, which is dumb.
Yeah, but they're
High value
just because it's dumb that you're
in
ranting
their
to Reddit.
no
Oh,
in their words, high
oh my
value
god.
women or high value men, people who are like high value don't complain about other random people on the internet.
As I said, it doesn't matter if it's dumb or not that they're ranting on here about it.
You you're missing the irony of the entire subreddit.
No, I get the irony of the subreddit, but
It's
just because they're ranting online doesn't take away from whether or not they're correct.
well, it's a bunch of women who can't get boyfriends complaining about how all men are horrible. All right? Now, if you look at this subreddit through the perspective of if everywhere you walk you smell shit, then you might want to check the bottom of your shoe. All right, that's how you read a subreddit like this. It's the same thing as incels.
Okay.
And I know you read the incel forums and you're like, I kind of agree with that.
No,
but the
because I
point
don't
is,
read Reddit forums.
Sure you don't. Sure you don't.
Reddit has very much fallen from what it used to be. That's my take on Reddit. I think Reddit is just kind of like a useless pile of crap at this point.
Or that our place was fun for like the 5 days that it lasted.
Anyway, I think we're at a good point to wrap up, though.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we
gotta find a good one. We gotta find a good one.
But this one...
I'm scrolling all the way down, dude.
The absolute audacity of this dude. But it was deleted by the person who posted it.
God, that's horrible. Find a male Audacity one. Those are fun.
I found the Audacity. Another Audacity one was story time.
Story time. I lost our place. Where are we? Oh, here we are.
You found it? It's just called The Audacity. It's a story time one.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
I'll read it.
Yep.
Quick story time for this evening. Okay. Going out on a first date. Okay, very good for you. And I won't bore you ladies. Yeah, we're men. With the yellow, orange, red flags. Oh, there are different color flags. That's fun. He presented to me. I just wanted to share them. How do you have? I wonder if they have like a counter for like how many if they have like a list of red flags and they're like checking them off.
I won't be surprised.
Because she said yellow, orange, and red flags. So red flags is a green flag means yes, take this guy, and a yellow flag means that's a bit weird, but okay, and an orange flag is whoa, and a red flag is I need to find a way to get out of this date. I'm guessing that's what that system is. I just wanted to share the moment that almost made me barf in my mouth a little bit. Okay. Alright, ladies, let's do this. End of the dinner date. We're saying goodbye. He asked me to hug, and I'm a hugger, so I naturally say, sure. No kiss, though. Want to guess what he did? I swear to God, I almost broke my back trying to lean away from his mouth. He ended up kissing my cheek. I said, ha. And said, ha. Like my boundaries and feelings were some joke to him. Oh, he said, ha. I just turned and left, blocked his details as soon as I went home. WTF, I'm super disgusted by his behavior and super proud of myself for reacting because old pick-me would have made an excuse for him and taken myself into a second date. Yay for female dating strategy. Alright? Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. They said, okay, I don't want to kiss you, and you kiss him. Here's assault.
People hurt me sometimes. This could have just been like a cringe dating subreddit.
It is a cringe dating. I
Okay.
mean, it is. For some reason, this month is really great for you. If you strategy. Here's one. If you're scaring them, you're doing something right. Yes, I love the strategies.
Okay.
I am in grade school. Grade school? Oh, grad school. Okay, thank God. But I'm in grad school, but this mindset applies to any group setting. Offices, friends group, organizations, etc. My roommate told me the other day that 2 guys in our class had crushes on me. However, they were afraid of me and would never have approached me. Or they were nervous to okay. I don't think they were physically afraid of their safety, but they were afraid of you somehow. My roommate is a charitable person, and she acted as a liaison between me and these guys to check it. 2 guys at the same time. Check my level of interest. My roommate is friends with these guys, and I am not. The handbook has comprehensive vetting strategies, and I reread them. The handbook? Am I missing something? Is this a female dating strategy handbook?
I don't know.
Oh, there is.
Don't know. Don't really care.
I want to read it now. And I read them often because the concepts keep me alert. Prior to FDS, female dating strategy, I would be flattered to learn someone had a crush on me. Now all I feel is disgust that they are comfortable crushing on me, yet too afraid to ask to talk to me. What? So instead of feeling flattered that someone kind of likes you, you're like, I'm disgusted that they're nervous to talk to me. Why are they afraid? Because they know. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, like, confidence is a desirable trait.
Yeah. But you.
It's okay to be
Right.
nervous, but to have that nervousness then take effect over you is very unattractive.
No, and that's fine. But if you were to tell your buddy that, I'd say that's fine. But I do have a problem when like this is like a chick thing. It's like, I can't believe these guys won't ask me out. And it's like, I mean, yeah, you're like waiting for some guy to ask you out, right? Because that's so great. But like asking someone out is hard. And if you're
It
like,
is.
there's this chick I'm kind of into, but whatever. Then why would you have a reason to ask them out? Like, and you get. And I'm not saying that like if you get asked out and you have to reject someone, that's also kind of hard. So like the whole asking someone out process is hard for everyone involved. You know what I mean? So so her analysis, which is why are they afraid? Because they know they have nothing to offer me. They know that they would merely waste my time. And despite knowing this, they harbor a crush. I haven't done anything to these individuals. I never speak to them. They just assume I'm a scary bitch because my standards are above whatever they possibly could offer. But
yeah,
oh
so I think there's a lot more that goes into being nervous to ask someone out.
Yeah, she's like, they're afraid to ask you out. They think I'm intimidating. It's like, well, kinda. They're scared of me. They think I'm a scary bitch. It's like, no.
If you just like reverse the question, if like, would she be willing to ask some guy out that she has a crush on? Half the time with girls, it's like no.
If you're coming off as a scary bitch, you're letting low value male by simply existing. The legwork done. You're vetting low value male by simply existing. Except no, if you're coming off as a bitch, then high value men don't want to date you either. And the top comment is, you triggered the angry male lurkers with this one. That's me.
I'm not that triggered about it. It's whatever.
apparently you're not a male lurker. I'm always on the subreddit. Apparently your awesomeness making men who would make your life miserable reluctant to approach you is something hate and violence. It's not something hate and violence. It's why would you say something hate and violence like that? It's not hate and violence. It's you took the wrong message away from the situation. The original message you should have taken away from is like, oh, some guy has a crush on me, but he's nervous to ask me out, because asking someone out is hard. But the message you took away from it is that, oh, they're intimidated by me because they think I'm a scary bitch. And then the message was, well, good to come off as a scary bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you see the next strategy. This is the good stuff, dude. It's the strategy. There's another strategy down. If you need to ask for it, just leave. You want proactive, not compliant. Somewhat agree? I don't know.
I think we're starting to go pretty long here.
Not really.
Yeah, we are.
Have we even gone for an hour?
Over an hour.
Let's read this one more, because
Okay.
I love these strategies. I've seen a few posts recently talking about men complying to requests. Things like making an effort on special occasions, buying presents. About men complying to requests. Things like making an effort on special occasions, buying presents, adjusting dates from coffee to drinks to a proper dinner, quitting certain apps, etc. at the woman's request. On first glance, this might seem good, but girl, it's not. Well, I guess it would depend on the context. Like, if you're never trying for dates, that's a bad thing. But if the man in the relationship is always the one setting up dates, and like he prefers like going to a bar or going to a coffee shop, but your chick prefers like dinner at a fancy restaurant, then maybe her saying, "Hey, I kind of prefer going to a restaurant." It's not like what the things that she described here are not like. It's not like you have to ask them to get you a gift for Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, can we start going to dinner more than coffee? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Of course, we can't expect men to be mind readers and guess what we want. Then why do you? Uh, when what we want is a matter of preference and not standards. When what we want is a matter of preference and not standards. Let me give you an example. Some women love being the center of attention and having lavish and lovely public proposals with friends involved. Someone would rather die than go through anything public like that, and instead would melt at elaborate, romantic yet private proposal in a restaurant's fancy dining room with private service in private. She said private so many times. Both are high value, worthy, and involve effort and planning. The difference is the woman's taste, and simply in the case, man couldn't or should he, nor should he try to read her mind. Actually, what's really funny is that this example she's given at like to defend some men is like she's totally off on it, because if you're proposing to a woman, you should know whether or not she likes public things or private things. I don't know why she would go there. It's kind of, she didn't think about this. He needs to get to know the woman, and she needs to openly express at some point her preferences. All right. I hate super public things like this couple is doing. I find private events much more romantic. Things that you should be telling and making. God, this is so long. Things that you should. And even then, your man should be proactively trying to please you. Sure. You come home after a long and specifically tough day at work. When your man is having a few days off, you text him about it when you left work. You could order your favorite food to be arriving just after you, or he could prepare a delicious warm meal at home. If he cares, he'll text you and offer to take care of dinner and ask which you prefer. if you have to always ask him to take care of dinner in a case like this, it is because it doesn't even cross his mind that you wouldn't be thoughtful that it would be thoughtful and fair, and that he's either brain dead or simply too selfish to think of pleasing you. This is when it gets serious. Okay, if your man follows hot girls on social media but stops when you tell him to. Jay?
That's fine.
You think that's fine?
I mean,
You don't think...
I wouldn't follow hot girls that I don't know to begin with.
Why would you... you don't think it's worse to follow hot girls that you know than hot girls that you don't?
Well, because if I know the person, I'm not following them because they're hot. I'm following them because I know them.
I think they're talking about like e-thought pages, in which case you wouldn't be following their like.
I think that's just
pages.
a red flag in general if you're following e-thoughts.
All right. If he uses Snapchats but stops when he tells you to. If he watches porn but stops when he tells you to. If he tunes you out when talking, but apologizes when he calls you out. If he spends a lot of time on friends and hobby and puts no effort into quality time with you, but apologizes when you call him out, qualifying evening with you, promises he'll be better. If he spends... So what she's saying is you're not allowed to have flaws that someone points out. I'm not going to say... I'll just read the whole thing. If he spends a lot of time texting female friends but tones it down when you ask him to, I think that's... If you get the idea.
These are all just red flags where it's like, oh, if you request him to stop and he stops, like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still like a red flag.
What do you mean? Like if he spends a lot of time texting female friends but tones it down when you ask him to.
Yeah, that's fine. But that doesn't change the fact that was still a red flag.
Yeah. So you're saying that it doesn't matter if he's doing bad things, even if he stops when you ask him to, it's still bad. Like you shouldn't, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you want me to doing that.
I mean,
this man is not up to your standards.
It's whatever. Again, it's whatever.
His compliance might fool you into thinking he is, but ask yourself, why did he not think these things were important in the first place? Aren't they obvious? No, they're not.
Not always. Different people have different views. Yeah. Well, different people have different views on these topics when it comes to, like, at least being in a relationship.
And can I tell you something? So the example that she used was, your man is, like, on his weekend, but you come home from a hard day of work. Your man should make dinner.
That's just being nice.
Yeah, that's sure, that's being nice. However, in my opinion, it is so much easier to make dinner after a hard day of work than it is to make dinner on your day off.
Bullshit. I don't think so.
No, absolutely. It depends on what, like, if you're making something that takes a long time to cook, then it becomes like an activity. But if you're like throwing together like some chicken and whatever, or chicken and rice or whatever, after you come home from work, I feel you're in that mode. Mm-hmm. So if I were like coming home from a rough day of work, and like my partner was like, "Oh, I'll make dinner," I'd be like, "I was gonna make dinner anyway tonight." I wouldn't expect like that change just because my day at work was rough.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect that either. Like if you have plans to cook dinner, but it ended up being a hard day of work, I actually think that you should still cook dinner.
Yeah.
Isn't it obvious that you should be faithful and not ignore your partner? And, well,
yeah,
people are allowed to zone out. Like, I'm just, like, oh, you weren't paying attention to me? I'm sorry, you've been talking for an hour and a half. It's like, I missed that last part. I was listening, but I missed that last part. Put effort into special dates and relationships in general. have
if you're
boundaries.
if you are having a communication problem with your partner, half the time it's about not the listening that's the problem. It's about what you guys perceive as important. That is the
No, and
problem.
that's
That you
yeah, and
guys
I
need to
agree.
align your standards, work
I
together,
agree that
find the middle ground, and try to see what like you guys consider important enough to be having conversations on.
and that's a great point that you're making. But also, reading this, I can't help. She's saying that you should break up for a guy for not respecting your boundaries, which I think is totally fine. Before your boundary, or like for not living up to your expectations, before your expectations are communicated.
But you shouldn't have to like shouldn't have to translate or like put forward all of your expectations. A lot of these things are just basic being nice or being in a relationship courtesies.
Sure, but the thing is, like, if you have a tendency to like tone people out when you're listening to them, then if you're the woman in that scenario and your boyfriend's turning you out and you're like, hey, you tune me out, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll do better, then that's not him like manipulating you into thinking that he'll be better, like him apologizing. That could just be him being like, I'm so sorry I do that, it's like unintentional, I'll work on it.
Hmm.
And in that case, that's the opposite of a red flag, right? If he's legitimately working on it, because in that point he's willing to like change,
Well, there's
like
a difference in working on it and actually improving on it.
well, working on it, you're putting in the effort, which is good for a relationship, and
Because
actually improving on it
a
is
lot of
better
people
because
will
you're putting in the effort.
a lot of people will just say that they're putting in the effort to work on
Well,
something,
that's not actually
but
that's
they
not actually
actually
working
aren't.
on it though.
Yeah,
That's what
but
I
they
mean. They're
really
actually
aren't.
working on it.
If
Like
they're
I'm
actually working
getting
on it, then yeah.
like this last one. You're like a bad listener, but you're becoming a better listener because he cares about the relationship. This red flag analogy is totally worthless, because it like you're not allowed to have like shortcomings.
On that one part is kind of worthless.
If he uses Snapchat but stops when you tell him to, what? Like, hey, I think it's kind of annoying that you're snapping all the time. It's like, oh yeah, I'll tone it down. Sorry about that. You're right. I use it too much. If he follows hot girls on social media, it's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't be following hot girls anymore. I'm in a committed relationship.
Yeah, he shouldn't. So why did that have to be brought up in the first place?
Because you don't even think about it. You like if you were following like all sorts of like e-thoughts, but then you were in a relationship, you like you don't like you like the first thing once you become in a committed relationship that pops in your head probably isn't, let me go unfollow all the e-thoughts I follow on Instagram. So you could just be scrolling through your feed and be like, hey, are you following? And like, yeah, actually, let me just unfollow all these people. You know what I mean?
Kinda.
That's my problem, is that you're like assuming that people can improve or can't legitimately want to do better.
No, that's not at all what I assumed.
No, not you, the
Ah,
poster. And also, I also, this also really bothers me when she says, aren't they obvious? It's like, no, sometimes they're not.
not always to everyone, but they
Yeah,
should
some
be.
things,
But they
some
should.
people have different preferences. And
Yep.
if your preferences are like different than like most people, then you're gonna have like a rough time in a relationship, because people mostly project their preferences onto other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're someone who like prefers to like me, when I said I'd prefer to make dinner on like a rough day than I would on like a day off,
Or how you
like,
prefer to have your food separated.
well, that's normal. Like, that's totally normal. Everyone prefers to have their foods. You're one of those crazy people who doesn't. Everyone has their like food arrangement. Pet peeves. Anyway, compliant men are resentful men. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
No.
well, like, yeah, they will blame you for their unhappiness, which they've been hiding. Well, yeah, not necessarily. If you bend a man to your will, then he becomes a resentful man, yeah. But if he just doesn't do things because he knows you don't like them, that's not like a resentful guy.
Yeah, it's. I don't know where this came from. It's.
Anyway, they will blame you for their unhappiness. They will call you controlling for making simple requests, like stop texting your friends. They will comply but pout on the inside. They will often fool you into thinking they complied, but still actively shitty way in their secret future. Yeah, that's manipulative. That's bad. But the other things aren't the same. It fucks with your mind because he's so nice he agreed to everything I did and asked. When in reality, he should be like, no, I won't do that thing that you asked me to do. I promise you these men are just hiding how shitty they are. That's all of us, by the way. The sweet abusers are... I don't like how this scenario, the sweet abusers are dangerous because they do anything not to be seen as abusive. What's really funny is that I'm reading the scenario and she's describing whipped men as the abusers.
Mm-hmm.
When typically everyone else in the world, like Norm from Cheers. You ever watch Cheers? Good show.
No, I
He's
haven't.
usually the one that has the shitty end of the deal in the relationship.
Can we get this?
Yeah, we're
going
done.
Yeah, because I gotta go.
Yeah, I know you gotta go.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
There's
You
still...
saying it?
Yeah.
And him changing to. Okay. Anyway, the one that we read right before this really, I think, amplifies why this subreddit's my favorite subreddit. Because it's just assuming the worst in people, and that's one of my favorite things, is assuming the worst in people.
Yeah, it's...
This would really get going
the
a lot
problem,
more if you just talked.
the problem with this subreddit is it's so biased and or perspective driven.
Yeah, you get all these anecdotes.
Yeah, it's very anecdotal.
Which I love anecdotes.
It's
because
either anecdotal or common
you...
sense, and so I don't know what the hell to say about half this stuff. Because there's not much to add to it.
I think it's fun, but you got to read into it a bit more, which makes it fun. You got to be like, okay, what are they thinking when they type this though?
No, I'm not gonna go into that because then I'll be putting words into their mouth.
No, you're not. You're adding the context of what female dating strategy is to their post, and it's generally just like, oh, you think the worst about everybody. It's like, yeah, which is fun. It's fun when you see someone who just hates the world. Because you're enjoying life.
Who doesn't hate the world though?
I guess that's right. We all are a bit too much like female dating strategy, honestly.
Let's get
we all got to see the
wrapped
best
up.
in people. You should just talk a little bit more,
I
and then that'll sort of solve it.
I'm exhausted. I'm tired.
Have you tried maybe a Red Bull before these?
No, I haven't.
Anyway, yeah, let's get this wrapped up. Dungeons and Dragons Tuesday nights 8:30 my channel.
Hell yeah.
Podcasts 8:30 Wednesday nights this channel. And Ice J also has a channel, probably in the link in the description. I actually haven't put the link in the description yet. He does content on an irregular schedule.
Not as regular anymore, but I'm still thinking about future content ideas I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But it's always a fun time whenever I'm doing something. I might do some Elden Ring in the future. Or Lego fun. Star Wars.
Or Lego Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which are the two most similar games that I could possibly think of.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, was fun.
On that note.
We'll see y'all next time.